The journey we have explored in previous sessions, from antiquity to the Renaissance and through the entire 18th century, finds its true turning point at the beginning of the 19th century, with Louis Braille. With him, a long season of attempts and experiments comes to a close, and at the same time, a new one begins. The system he devised was the one that, more than any other, succeeded in fully harnessing the potential of touch. It was not only an effective method, but a fast, practical, and complete system, capable of adapting to different needs, and in particular, it allowed not only reading, but also writing in complete autonomy. Braille worked for a long time to perfect his method and make it applicable to every field of knowledge, from literary texts to mathematics and music. With him, modern tactile writing was born in every sense. Louis Braille was born on January 4, 1809, in Coupvray, a small village near Paris. He was the fourth child of Simon René Braille and Monique Baron. His father was a respected and esteemed craftsman who worked with leather and made mainly saddles for horses. At the age of 3, an accident marked Louis's life forever. In his father's workshop, awls were kept, sharp tools used to pierce leather. One day, Louis grabbed one while playing and severely injured one of his eyes. The treatments available at the time failed to stop the infection, which also spread to the other eye. Within a short time, he completely lost his sight. Despite the accident and its consequences, the family did not give up on his education. The village priest, Abbé Jacques Paluy, and the teacher, Antoine Bécheret, were by his side from the start. They devoted themselves carefully to his instruction, struck by the liveliness of his intelligence and his sensitivity. They gave him his first lessons and devised simple tactile activities for him to make learning easier. Thanks also to the support of the Marquis d'Orvilliers, the family managed to give him the opportunity to continue his studies in Paris. At the age of 10, he was admitted to the Institution Royale des Jeunes Aveugles, the institute founded 30 years earlier by Valentin Hauy. At that time, the institute was directed by Dr. Alexandre René Guillier, an ophthalmologist with a controversial reputation, who seemed to regard the school more as a personal opportunity than as a genuine educational mission. The material conditions were difficult. The first premises, and the following ones, until the move to the old seminary of Saint-Firmin on Rue Saint-Victor, were housed in dilapidated and damp buildings, and the institute had very limited financial resources. Under Guillier's direction, a workshop was set up in which blind students made objects intended for sale, in order to provide the institute with new income, while older pupils assisted the younger ones in their studies, partly taking on the role of teaching assistants as well. In the school program, music held a central place and was a compulsory subject, and the institute had both suitable instruments and teachers trained to teach it. Life inside the institute was strict and harsh. Boys and girls lived separately. Daily work was heavy, food was scarce and of poor quality. Hygiene was inadequate, and discipline extremely severe, with punishments and restrictions. The institute had a few dozen embossed books and took in about 100 students. Those who could not continue their musical studies were assigned to manual labor. Occasionally, the children were allowed to take part in educational outings, such as a visit to the city's botanical garden. And during these excursions, they held onto a rope that guided them and allowed them to move forward together safely. Adapting to the new life of the institute was not easy for Louis, who was used to a loving family environment. Over time, however, also thanks to the support of his fellow pupils, he devoted himself with commitment to his studies, particularly to music, becoming a skilled organist. In 1821, the ministry's management committee removed Sébastien Guillet from his post, following a scandal that compromised his position. Alexandre René Pignier was appointed in his place, and he acted quickly to improve the living conditions of the pupils. Under the new direction, more room was also given to movement and physical exercise. More frequent outings into the city were organized, and meetings were encouraged with the institute's founder, Valentin Hauy, who was still alive but by then very elderly. On one of these occasions, it is possible that Louis Braille had the chance to meet him. The story of the writing system invented by Louis Braille began precisely in this period, thanks to an important encounter. The protagonist was Nicolas Marie Charles Barbier de la Serre, a captain in the Napoleonic army who had devised a system of tactile writing. Barbier had been a soldier of the Royal Academy and, during the Revolution, had emigrated to the United States, where he had worked as a surveyor. Having returned to France in 1808, he became a captain in the Napoleonic army. According to the most widespread version, Barbier's interest in tactile writing arose from a wartime episode. Some soldiers, at night, allegedly betrayed their position by lighting a lamp to read a dispatch, were spotted and hit by enemy fire, and this tragedy is said to have driven him to look for a way to read messages in the dark, using touch alone. However, according to the research of Philippa Campsie, a Canadian writer who has studied Charles Barbier's life in depth, it emerges that this anecdote is not supported by any evidence in her sources. His system had been conceived with a much broader ambition: to create a method of reading and writing simpler than traditional ones, accessible even to those who had not received a full education. The project was aimed at peasants, craftsmen, the urban poor, deaf people, and everyone who had been excluded from the educational system of the time, including blind people. Barbier identified a fundamental limitation of the conventional alphabet. Written signs do not correspond precisely to sounds, and traditional writing requires years of learning. His reasoning started from a simple idea. A truly rational system should have one symbol for each sound, no more and no less. The alphabet, on the other hand, is full of inconsistencies. There are different letters that represent the same sound, such as the letter C, the letter K, and the letter Q. In French, some signs are pronounced similarly, even though they are graphically distinct. Furthermore, uppercase and lowercase letters are different forms used to indicate the same letter. To all this is added the difficulty of handwriting, made up of tiny strokes that must be executed with precision and that are impossible to master without long practice. Barbier was looking for a simpler and more logical solution, a clear system that could be understood and used even by those who had never attended school. To overcome these difficulties, he devised a system based on a numbered grid, a table organized in rows and columns. Each sound of the French language occupied a precise cell, identified by two numbers, the row number and the column number, as in a coordinate. Barbier proposed two versions of the grid. One contained the traditional letters, the other the 30 sounds of the French language, for those who preferred a phonetic writing system. To write a sound, it was no longer necessary to draw a letter. It was enough to indicate two numbers. The N in the alphabetical table corresponded to 3 and 4, P to 4 and 1, while in the phonetic table, the sound ON was indicated by 2 and 5. The system was based on a combination of two numbers, but Barbier wanted to make it even simpler. He decided to eliminate the numbers and replace them with a more immediate sign, made up of dots arranged in two columns. The dots could be drawn on paper, or, if embossed on paper using an awl, could be perceived by touch with the fingers. In this way, the system also became usable by blind people. Take, for example, the letter N, which in the grid corresponds to 3 and 4. In place of the number 3, 3 dots are placed in the left column, and in place of the number 4, 4 dots are placed in the right column. For each graphic sound, two adjacent columns were always used. The left column indicated the row number, the right one the column number. The system was therefore made up of two columns of 6 points each. Barbier's original grid provided for 5 rows and 6 columns, but the matrix could be expanded, going from 30 to 36 sonographic signs. Barbier did not limit himself to conceiving the system, but also designed the tools necessary to use it in practice. He produced a slate fitted with grooves that allowed the dots to be aligned precisely, together with an awl with which to emboss the raised dots onto the paper. In the next session, we will see how Louis Braille developed and perfected his own writing system, starting precisely from the idea and intuition of Charles Barbier.